They were not, no, they came back. They were really good. Got into the Yes. He's funny. So usually when they make a call, they turn to the scoreboard to show him. Yeah. And he continued to scoreboard and the jump off of it. It's like nobody, people see it. Nobody. There's five.
That's all.
Oh.
Get to a quick.
How are you doing? I'm Brett.
There's Dave. Michael, how are you?
Announcement. This is Val Berger. He's a skier friend of mine. He's from Indianapolis. He's been coming here for a few years to ski for the entire season. His son lives here in South Weber, works on the base. So I said, why don't you come out and attend our city council meeting and see how low our crime is?
So the real reason why he's here tonight is because there's no snow to ski on, so hasn't got anything else to do.
Well, welcome, Val.
Spent 24 years there. Yeah. Before I got drafted and sent out to you.
Okay, I think we're ready to get going. We'd like to welcome everyone to South Weber City Council at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, January the 27th, 2026. We're going to begin with a Pledge of Allegiance from Councilwoman Petty and a prayer by Councilman Davis.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, we're grateful to gather together as members of this wonderful city to come together and discuss the needs that are before us. We pray that thy spirit may be in abundance with us, that we may be guided and directed in how best to manage the affairs of the city this evening, and that we will always maintain a level of courtesy and professionalism as we discuss things, even if those things are difficult. We are grateful for these opportunities to come together and to help continue to make our city a great place to live and to thrive. We are also grateful for the men and women who serve in our community in all the many various capacities, and we ask a special blessing be upon them and their families as they put their lives on the line for the rest of us. And these blessings we pray for in the name of the Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Appreciate that. From both of you, we'll begin this evening with public comments. If anyone has a comment that they would like to make, we'd ask that you come up to the microphone and state your name and city in which you reside, and we'll allow you 3 minutes to speak. And please address the entire council, and we will not remark. So if anyone has any comments, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll move right along. Michael. Right.
Michael Grant, South Weber. If you are going to talk about general plan, if you can come up and let us know the time when we would start voting on it or planning on it, then we can start talking about in the community. That's all.
Okay, Mike, thank you. First item on our agenda tonight is the quarterly report from Davis County Sheriff's Office, so we'll turn the time to them, make their presentation. You weren't expecting us to call you up that fast, were you?
So my name is Mike Valencia. I'm the captain over the patrol division. I believe, sorry for the absence for Lieutenant Boyd, but he's pretty sick right now. So I kind of wanted to go over a little bit I don't know if you guys have the information that we provided last week, but if you look at the stats, do you want me to go on? You don't have that.
We don't have it.
Yeah. 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 I can start if you want, and then we can catch up.
Go ahead.
Does
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
work better?
Yep, go right ahead.
That way I don't hold you guys up. As you can know, the first page that we get to is the dispatch incidents. We give you 3 years of stats on that, I mean, which include 23, 24, and 25. And you can see there's a steady increase in all three years that have steadily gotten a little bit higher every year. It ranges, though, as you can see, between the numbers of 100 to 130 dispatch incidents. And when we talk about dispatch incidents, that doesn't mean that was not incidents that we took here, like with traffic and so on. It's incidents the actual dispatch took from people called and we were actually dispatched to. So when you see that graph.
Is this it?
We've got it.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. Yes. So if you look at it, you can see the steady increase. It's, like I said, it fluctuates between 95 to 100 incidents throughout the year of 24 and 25. If you go to the next one, it goes to citations. I know this is always kind of a hot commodity, hot topic for everybody. Keep in mind the citations, as you see there, that's 24 and 25. 24 is how many we wrote, not actual citations that were, not actual traffic stops. Those are actual citations. That doesn't mean that, like, we could have one citation that includes 5 or 6 violations. Those don't go down as a separate stat. So when you look at that, again, they're pretty close in proximity. You'll see the number for 2025 where the dip is in September and October. We actually we're trying to start, Chief West and I, sorry, I should introduce Chief West. Chief West is the patrol division chief. Chief West and I are trying to do a new project, which is considered to be part of a GPS system, which is a PUC system that we're kind of, we're trying to get into all of our unincorporated area so that it logs not only how long the deputy is there, but it logs like what they're doing. It'll give us a lot of more data input than other than currently we still do it the way of like, you know, if we have an incident here, then we say so many incidents per year here, not including, keep in mind, not including anything that was investigated by our investigators. So this is just patrol, all right?
So I got a question on it then.
Sure.
What does this graphic tell you? Because I can look at it, I can see the numbers, and I can see some variation in it, but I don't have the expertise you do. So when you're looking at a graph like this for the past year, what does it tell you?
In reference to the citations or?
Yeah, just for the citation. Then we'll go through this on some of the others, obviously, also.
So in reference to the citations, I would say it's pretty consistent, where we have so much dedicated time to your guys' area. I think it's pretty consistent, because there's no way you can actually make this up, right? This is stuff that our crime analysis pulls for us every year. So I would say that it's pretty consistent. A lot of times we'll get calls, and I believe the mayor will even call us, or the city manager will call us and say, hey, we want to put up the speed trailer here in this subdivision. And I'll be honest with you, one of the first things I tell them is, get ready, because whoever is making the complaints will be the first one we pull over, right? And it's like, you don't want to give everybody citations, because we in law enforcement believe that citations isn't the only way to divert crime or traffic, right? It's we want to divert and deflect. By giving a warning, sometimes you get just as much out of a warning that you would a citation.
Okay.
So to answer that question, I think we're staying consistent with our numbers on how much traffic we're doing in the city of South Weber.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about where we're going? Okay, and the next one, if you go to the speeding, that is actual speeding citations that we wrote for the year. Keep in mind, when you look at that chart, I mean, we're talking about 44 in the month of January, and you get all the way down to December, where we get into the number of 35. Again, you see a little bit of a dip in the middle of the month, or the middle of the year, and that again is because we were changing the GPS system to log more, to get more accurate readings. All right. Any questions on the speeding? I know that's always a hot topic, because everybody's getting complaints from their neighbors about, you know, how come they're not in the neighborhoods, or they're, you know, why aren't they here having so many speeders in this area? Go ahead.
Clarification.
In your city, I would say yes. In Fruit Heights, we run it right a ton off of 89, because that comes in and out of. In your city, I would say majority of it, yes, is inside of your city.
Thank you.
Records, yeah. Because if you think about it, we don't do anything south really. That's because it goes straight into Weber County, and then it takes us into problems where, who do we cite them under? Weber County or Davis County? Any questions about that speeding issue? Okay. If you go into the citations, the next one, that's a little bit more of a breakdown as to the numbers, the total numbers, the stuff that we actually went over. If you look in there, we obviously, parking violation is usually your snow removal issues. That is again another subject that's kind of a hot commodity, because some judges, there's some case law, and some judges that don't believe in, you gotta be really careful when you cite on unattended snow removal issues. So we're very cautious on that. However, when we have our first area of snow removal, we as in the administration like to give out warnings. We'll actually take out flyers and post them on the windows, and that way everybody knows, you know, hey, we're letting you know that, just a reminder that we're going to be enforcing snow removal warning signs. As you can see, there's a 771 total citations for the year of 2025. So any questions about that? Okay. And then we go into our we go into our investigations division. If you look at this, this number is an itemized number. The reason I know this number in particular is I used to actually be over the investigation division. And what we do is when we get an issue or a case from South Weber and the detectives start to work it, we require them to log how much time it takes them from start to finish, from the start of the investigation to hopefully the incarceration or the citation of whatever case it is we do when we close it out. So those total hours there are usually a matter of whatever we have done for investigations for the city of South Weber. And if you look at it, if you look at the highest number, child abuse and child neglect reports are high. It's not South Weber, just so you know, this is all across the whole county. One of the biggest reasons, and I tell this to everybody, one of the biggest reasons for a lot of these abuse and these neglects is because of technology nowadays. Kids have so much access to have predators come in, and your city is not even close to as bad as some of the other jurisdictions. And so that's why we actually provide that service of, I don't know if you've seen, but we provide a internet awareness service that we provide for the kids and for the adults to kind of let them know what they look for, what to monitor for. But as you can see, I mean, if I was a citizen, I saw 46 number of child abuse and neglect, which could be sex offenses. That's what concerned me. And that is, again, the reason why it's so high. A lot
Could
of
those also be double counted as in going to the same house numerous times, or is it by case?
usually it's by case.
Okay.
We can't really, we wouldn't double it up unless it was a separate incident, like years later.
Okay.
But no, if it's a one incident and it's like you have like 3 victims, it would still be just one incident. It's usually just one incident per case. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Not a lot of fraud. Fraud would be your second, and the theft would be third. The theft is, to be honest with you, is usually Maverick, because Maverick is obviously right off the freeway. There's retail theft that goes on. One of the biggest things, obviously, that we have too is the Autobergs. Remember that if we don't have a lot of those on here, because Autobergs, if we don't have a suspect, we don't give it to a detective, right? Because those cases are so hard to prove. You don't want to send a detective into a case where there's really nothing. There's there's no information about it to investigate, to go on further. So we don't issue those out. This numbers that we're showing in front of you here is actual investigation time used to solve crime.
So your incredible officer, Pope, always used to tell us that if we're starting to get kids coming in or people coming in, trying door handles, getting into their cars and those kind of things, that we should still report those. Is that still the case then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Especially again with technology nowadays, you'd be surprised how many cases we solve for other jurisdictions based off the video footage that we pull. So absolutely, like nowadays, you drive down the neighborhood, and on one city street, you'll see more than half of the people that has some type of video surveillance. And we always encourage that, because half these people don't park in front of where they're actually making the crime, right? They park streets and blocks away, and then they start checking door handles. And when our detectives or our officers come out, they'll actually come to the unit or to the call, and then we'll do a block or 2 block radius to see if anybody has video surveillance. And we've solved a lot of crime based off of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we always encourage, please do call. Any questions about the stats on that? Okay. That's all we have to report. Is there any questions for us?
Anyone have any questions?
I have some comments, if that's
Okay.
okay, Mayor.
Go ahead.
And I need to start out with, I am a huge supporter of Davis County Sheriff's Office, and I always have been. But I am frustrated with one of the officers that's been assigned to our city. So if I may just, I typed up a couple notes about some incidences that I've had residents contact me about this certain officer. And knowing that there are venues to file a formal complaint, I know that at least one has been done. But I need to have this be on the record to show that this is not how we want Davis County Sheriffs to community police in South Weber. So It's for Corporal Whitty. And I want to start by the Davis County Office Sheriff's on your website. I'm just going to read your little mission statement really quick for those who aren't familiar with it. We exhibit professionalism through our actions, with our words, and in our attitude. Our fundamental duty is to serve the community. We are actively engaged in improving the quality of life for everyone in Davis County. View our focus priorities below: courage, respect, trust, care, gratitude, service, integrity, professionalism, balance, accountability, empathy, and communication, which I agree that is exactly what we are looking for in a sheriff's office. I have no less than 5 incidences, and I won't go over all of them on the record, but just so you know, different residents have approached me about this. So in my opinion, Corporal Whitty has not shown any of the focus priorities that I just outlined in the mission statement. The behavior and how he treats residents is in no way professional. He has threatened to send teenagers or even children younger than that to juvenile detention, admitting their case would be thrown out. He has admitted to arrest and he has threatened to arrest and impound vehicles without due cause, once again admitting the case would be dismissed, but that he could do it to make our residents go through it. That is in no way professional, in my opinion, and that is and it was without provocation. When one resident in a situation with Corporal Whitty asked what law he broke, Corporal Whitty responded, quote, "It's not my responsibility to educate you." When the resident was being detained, he was threatened with arrest and impounding of his car with no explanation. I know that there have been other situations, and I'm happy to talk offline about this, but my concern is when there are certain, and I'm so sorry to even say this, when there's certain members that want to push for different citations, which I do not agree with, that we need more citations in the city. I've made that very clear, but I feel like this is an unintended consequence of that if we are pushing for more citations and we need to use citations as a way to enforce that, then perhaps we're getting less than optimal service as a result of that. So I would prefer to have speeding than have our residents treated this way. So I recognize this may not be the right way to ask for Corporal Whitty to be transferred, but he needs to at least be re-educated in what it means for community service in South Weber, because he needs a refresh on what your mission statement is, in my opinion.
Sure. No, I totally understand, and let me apologize right off the bat if that's how the citizens have felt about this. I do want to let you know that there is due process. Like we truly, if that is the case, please advise your neighbors or whoever the complainant is to come to our office, and we will look into those incidents. As a matter of fact, I'm aware of one of the incidents involving, I believe it was your husband. More than happy to talk to you about that. I believe that Lieutenant Boyd has, whether that's to your happiness or not, I don't know, but we are happy to talk to you anytime you want. Because we 100% want you guys to know that professionalism is all we expect from our deputies. And if a deputy is out of line, absolutely, we need to handle it. I promise you that the sheriff that we currently have does not take that lightly. Like we look at every complaint. We actually even have a database now that if a citizen files a complaint, it doesn't just get pushed under the rug. It can't no more. Like it truly it has to be investigated, has to be thoroughly looked through. So please invite whoever it is that's not happy or they believe that something happened, because every incident that we've had an issue with usually has a body cam footage on it, right? So we can go into it and we invite the complainants and say, you know, sometimes it's a way that they perceive it. Sometimes it's a way the deputy delivered it. It could be either way. I don't know. But we invite people to come in and say, here's the body cam. and let us advise you, show you what happened. And again, please invite people to that here in South Weber, because we do not want a rogue deputy by any means, if that's what they think.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. And I just want the record to show there was an incident with my husband, which kind of spurred this, because then we talked to several different residents, I'm so sorry, who then shared their opinion and their experience. And I was shocked if that's really how he is being patrolling, how our residents. It's completely uncalled for. So, Chief, you had your hand back there. Please address this, because I don't want anyone thinking that I'm upset about my husband. I mean, clearly I was, but this is not just a one incident, and it really needs to be addressed.
I think we can appreciate that. So my name's Taylor West. I'm the Bureau Commander over the law enforcement side of the Sheriff's Office. I would just caution everyone, the citizens and the council, to know that we do have a very robust and refined manner to make those complaints. And I would hate to talk about something that's maybe secondhand knowledge or hearsay without Corporal Whitty being here to explain to us what's going on. I'd also like to echo that we have a mandatory body camera policy. Every traffic stop that's conducted in your city is recorded with a body camera device, which we can go back and listen to and watch. So please encourage those people that are coming to you to use our system. You can go to our website. It says make a complaint or a compliment. You just click on that link. You can be anonymous. I will caution you that anonymous complaints are hard for us to follow up on, because we don't have somebody to call and ask follow-up questions to. So I would encourage you to get on there and make those complaints. But also understand that Corporal Whitty far exceeds the number of tickets of any deputy in the office. That's kind of his job. He's a motor officer, so we ask him to do traffic enforcement in our contract cities. So by nature, he's going to have more complaints than anyone else. I'm not justifying anything he may or may not have done. I just want you to have some context behind that, that most cops are writing 1 or 2 tickets a shift, and Corporal Whitty's probably writing 10 or 15 a shift. So he's going to have exponential amounts of complaints. Nobody's happy getting a ticket. Everybody's innocent. Nobody broke the law. I do think there's a level of professionalism that is required by our office, and that's a standard that I hold and want my deputies to hold. So we'll definitely look into that. I'd love to talk to you offline about it, but I would be cautious about those statements being second or third hand without.
Absolutely, and I can appreciate that.
Is
So
there any questions I can
thank you
answer for anyone?
And that's why I said I would prefer to have speeders than have this type of
Us too.
behavior, really.
I'd love to review the camera footage and make sure we're right there. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all that Davis County Sheriff does for South Weber. Next item, Resolution 26-02, CFS Chapter 10, remove mapping, and 11 excavation fee. Any discussion need to be taken on this resolution or concerns?
Context to it? I mean, is it just quite literally it's a duplicate fee?
Yeah, it was recognized that it was essentially being double charged inadvertently because of the way that the different timing of the fees were related to the development. And so in this case, as soon as that was recognized, we wanted to bring that forward to say, let's just charge it in the one method rather than both.
Yeah, thank you.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2602, amended the consolidated fee schedule.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, second by Councilwoman Petty. Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilwoman Windsor.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Resolution 26-03, Public Defender appointment. Our Public Defender has moved on to another office, and we needed to have one. It looks like Murphy and Murphy Law will be our new Public Defender. Anyone have any discussion on this resolution?
Who hired him? Was that something that we did, or was that just a recommendation from the county, or?
Lisa, do you want to address that?
Ask the judge for referrals, and also our outgoing public defender, if he had any recommendations, we contacted those to see who was interested. This is the only one that was interested.
Thank you.
Anything else? Not, we'll look for a motion.
Move to approve resolution 2603, public defender appointment. Seconded.
Motion is second by Councilman Halverson. Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Next item is a public hearing. We'll look for a motion to open the public hearing for the budget amendment.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Take your picture.
Okay, public hearing is open. Anyone have any public comments? Seeing none, then we'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second by Councilman Davis. All in favor, say aye.
Okay.
Resolution 26-05 fiscal year 2026 budget amendment number 2. Any discussion on this?
This is just clerical, is it not?
Yes, dollars are all the same. It's just based on the audit report that we got last year that we wanted to make sure that we're appropriately applying that principle to the current fiscal year budget. And so it required a budget amendment. Dollars are all the same. It's just where the money is coming from.
Move to approve resolution 2604 fiscal year 2026 budget amendment number 2.
Seconded.
Second, Councilman Davis. Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Windsor.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you. Discussion items. Legislative review. Dave, do you want to take that, or Joel, do you have something you'd like to say on that, Dave?
So Mayor Westbrook, Councilmember Dills, and myself as the 3 representatives for the Legislative Policy Committee went to the state capitol yesterday for the first LPC, Legislative Policy Committee of the Utah League of Cities and Towns. We do that each week, and the league updates us on what bills they are tracking, the positions that the league as an organization is taking. There's feedback given from the LPC members to the league to kind of understand the bills as well as decide what positions the league will take. And then they, have those conversations with the state legislators as they go through. So this was the first week, the first meeting that we had. They went over a handful of bills that are numbered and mostly just principles and topics that are being discussed that don't necessarily have numbered bills. So no real action alerts to take at this point. But as far as topics that are being discussed, property tax is a significant one. There is a bill or a concept, I should say, there's not a bill number yet, being discussed about changing the residential exemption that a primary residence receives rather than get the 45% discounted rate off of property tax to make that 60%. And so that would be a significant change in the tax structure that's being discussed. They want to make that revenue neutral to cities, which means that they would simply be changing the amount of money that residences pay. Now I'm doing the same thing, Angie. You believe that?
It's hard.
And that would transfer over to commercial properties. And so I think there's a lot of potential dominoes to that concept. Again, there's no specific bill and it's still being kind of talked about on a high level, but we're tracking that, keeping that in mind. Any comments or thoughts or things that the 3 of us need to know going back to LPC related to that general comment?
So you're saying that it would go from 45% to 60% with that difference being charged to our commercial properties.
Yeah.
So they would have an increase. If it was a lump sum of $100,000, they would divide that amount by all of our commercial properties.
I think the easy way to say it, or an easier way to say it, is this doesn't change the pie, the size of pie. It doesn't change the amount of property tax the city would receive, but it would shift who's paying it to give resident properties a greater discount and commercial properties a higher percentage.
So for communities who have a lot of residents and very few commercial, it puts a lot of burden on those few commercial, thus not wanting new commercial to come into those cities. But those cities who have a plethora of commercial, it kind of spreads it all out. It's not as impactful. Am I reading that correct?
That's how I read it too.
Well, doesn't the tax go to the county and then it's dispersed outward? So the commercial ones that we have here are still just going to all go into one joint general fund, if you will, and then be spread out that. So in other words, Parsons doesn't take over the full load for our city. It's part of all commercial taking it over for all of the county. Is that right?
We all pay to the county and the county distributes it to the city, but it
Yeah.
would be revenue neutral by city, not by county. And so to Wayne's
Okay.
point, those
Will be.
those commercial properties within our city would have a higher burden because there's fewer of them. If they're taking more of the pie, individually speaking, if there's fewer people to pay it, that makes it so each one would be more burdensome.
I just want to point out that I think this is a horrible idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly.
So
Yeah.
this,
there's so many things wrong with that. Sorry, and just really quick.
Yeah.
Just from my perspective, I hate it when legislatures do this because in my mind, they think it's going to look good by reducing property taxes for residents, but all you're doing is you're shifting the tax amount paid from your property taxes to what you pay when you go to the grocery store. So it's a net loss across the board. You overburden the commercial, but all they're going to do is pass that extra burden back onto the residents. So my perspective is this is a horrible idea, and it's just a way to hide things from a legislature's perspective. Personal opinion. Sorry, go ahead, Angie.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to clarify, no bill number yet, but do we have a sponsor? Is there an official sponsor of this yet?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Let's just watch it. That's.
Yeah, we'll watch that one close. Jeremy, to your point, I think there are many times local governments, cities included, but we see it on the federal level, we see it at the state level that governments that are in the business of providing community services recognize the need for revenue and funds. And when they start thinking about how that revenue comes, sometimes we forget that it all comes from the same place. It's the taxpayers, it's the residents. And if you're generating more money or shifting that around somehow, that it's still the same people. And so I think it's important to remember that. And this is a good example of it.
Well, the only disagreement I have with that is that you can't lose your home for a food tax, but you can lose your home for property tax. So it is a little bit more serious. Does the council then, hearing that first opinion, would it be more okay if it was on a county level that the taxes were dispersed from, so that it didn't hit the individual city, but it was? Yeah. Would that matter? Or is it more, it's just that it's
I
going to be
think
charging
for our
corporate-
residents, it's going to affect them as much or more on the countywide because we still shop in the county.
Mhm.
If those businesses are going to pass that on, then it's the count. I mean, how many times? I mean, we either go to Weber County or Davis County to buy our food.
Right.
We're not buying it here in South.
Right, it
Weber.
doesn't change the tax, it just depends on whether it's a property tax versus the other types of taxes, so yeah.
I'm completely
Anything?
against it either way, and I'm
Okay.
changing that. So
I think it's, no matter how they distribute it, it's a different idea.
I still don't know. I
Agreed.
can't quite see how they do that and to distribute it without raising the rate on a commercial tax.
Okay, we will take that back.
Yeah, that's great feedback.
Mhm.
Property tax is a big conversation topic. Housing will continue to be a topic. There are some bills that are getting rid of the Commission of Housing Affordability and kind of restructuring how the state looks at housing, but not necessarily changing any of the tools or things at this point. And so that's kind of a to be determined, and we'll keep a watchful eye, but not anything specific to housing at this point. If there are other topics that you'd like to bring up, it's still just kind of watch and see as the recipe starts getting mixed together, and we don't have anything really to report on beyond that.
The only thing I have to add is from the special guests that we had, it sure seemed like the idea still remains in their mind that all the cities have to do is open up property and people will fight to put low income housing on it, sacrificing the amount of profit that they could make. And they consider that something that government and local governments are the ones that are causing that. And I still believe we don't have control over what gets put on that property, and we don't have control of how much they charge for it.
That's
So-
just it. There's no definition of that whole moderate and low income housing and
Yep.
where that line is drawn.
Mhm.
I mean, what people I might consider and someone else might consider, and there's no true definition from the state,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah. So.
Or wherever yeah.
Oh, that did trigger, there is conversation about detached accessory dwelling units. We call them external accessory dwelling units in our city code. We're already ahead of that curve in terms of, the concept is that all cities would have to be required to allow them based on certain lot sizes and whatnot. Our code specifically says it must be a third of an acre, so 0.33 of an acre, which is approximately 14,000 square feet lot. The discussion is that they might require that as a 10,000 square foot minimum instead of what we have as a 14. So again, not a specific bill number yet, but that was talked about as a concept. And so again, we'll follow housing as a general topic as well.
Along with that, did they mention anything about a minimum square footage for the ADU?
No.
They just
I
said
know.
just the lot size that
It
you
was
could
lot
put them
size.
on. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It did actually specifically mention that it would be up to the cities to still determine the setbacks and all of those kind of things. So I think we do have still a little bit of control on it, considering how much land will still be open, but
This year,
Yeah.
we do this year, till they decide to change it next year.
Anything else, Dave?
Not for me, no. Not on that, I should say.
Okay, our next discussion item then is our general plan update. We want to kind of just see where everyone is landing on this, how they feel about what is needed on a general plan update, whether we need to do a full-blown general plan again, or just tweak the plan that we've got a little bit, or leave it alone and do nothing. So how does the council feel on this?
She starts getting a little twitchy every time we say that word.
I do. I'm not the only one. There's no way I'm. the only
I
one.
get that. There's no, I don't think I will survive.
If I can I'll start it off real quick. From my perspective, I think the general plan is pretty solid. But there are a couple items that were like questionable that just kind of got thrown in at the end. I think those items should be revisited to have a more solid perspective and plan for those. Blair, doesn't seem like you like that.
I was gonna suggest that as well.
Oh, okay.
And put South Bench Drive back on the discussion.
You just want to stir it, or do you really feel
Did you
that?
put that
You
in?
like stirring
note,
pot.
Michelle? Michelle, did you get that Angie
It's
wants?
Councilman Halverson, not Anderson. Leave
Absolutely.
my name out of this.
But that would be the only thing that I think we should go after is anything that's a little ambiguous. Maybe we try to make that not so ambiguous, and so we have a more solid idea. And the couple things that come to mind is what Blair brought up, because that's still kind of ambiguous to a certain extent. And then those bubble zones that ended up on the general plan before, because we didn't really know what to do with those areas. I think if we could have a better spot to decide what specifically to call those areas, I think that would be helpful.
Well, from my perspective, I don't think it's ambiguous at all that, hell no, we don't want the whole South Bench Drive going through that hill. So I think that was very clear, and I will continue to fight to make that
I would
clear.
think a continuation of View Drive and just keep it going.
Yeah, you would. But I do think that the general plan is solid. I do think we got quite a bit of input twice from the community, and I think that's been appropriately condensed and brought into the plan. I do think there might be the cloud and a few things that might need to be clarified, but I don't think there's been any major shift in law or code or anything to suggest we need to do a wholesale, open it back up and revisit the whole thing. I think it tweaks, if that's the right word. But I don't think it needs a wholesale look at it.
I think we're all in the same
Nope.
with that.
No, nope. I know, crazy, huh? No, the only thing that I think we ought to look at is that this has been 5 years since it previously happened, and we've had a lot of development that's happened in that time. We've got whole mess going in on the west side right now. We've got changes in where our public works buildings are. We've got general RV, which has changed that whole dynamic for that side. And we've got, more and more coming in at the east entrance as well. So I just think we ought to take a look at, here's what's changed in that time. And do we still want the same zoning slash approved items in there? For example, we were talking about this the other day where everything that's the commercial highway along that whole eastern side over there, that still allows for a hotel. Maybe not somebody would put in it, but those are the kind of things that we should look at and say, okay, we don't have anything else over here. Should we pop up this? Churches, same kind of way. Now that we've got a much more amount of dirt behind us, if you will, just being able to look at those things and what is automatically approved by the city in our zoning, that would be about it. That's the only thing that I see.
Isn't that more of a code change? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it would be, it's just a simple change in the code, or change in the zone, because, for example, if we've got enough residential down here of one size, do we want to make that a less dense area that's remaining? Some of the areas that haven't been developed yet, do we want to make it higher density? I mean, that's the only thing I'm saying is that as all of the pieces of the puzzle have slowly been put around it, there's a few places that we ought to look. Now with what is surrounding it, does that still make sense for that spot? And I do think that one's really kind of a quick, easy way to just look at it and see what the public thinks and what needs to be done.
So just for clarification, you would just like to revisit what other properties have not been developed?
Right. It's more of what is not fulfilled and just making sure that that still matches the vision of what we have, or are we opening up ourselves to multiple duplications? So.
And is that process a conversation with council and planning commission? Are you wanting to open, quick follow-up question though,
please,
are you wanting to open it all up to the public again for all of the input?
No, I think that most of the documentation that we have in there is about the city itself. The transportation plan, well, now knowing things down on the east end, I think the question needs to come up of, does what we have planned there right now match it? Do we need to change our overall strategy on the road plans, especially within the city limits, where we can change the rating that we look for? Are people looking, to put it simply, are the residents looking for a quicker way to get in and out of the city, or are they looking for a safer way for pedestrians to go through the city? Those are two different types of codes that you would require when we're doing any type of development. When they do the traffic study, there's at least two different strategies that Jamie was talking about that says, which one of those do you really want to do? And I think that's I know which one I would prefer, but this is up to the city and the council and the PC as they do their, open house to discuss it all. But that's what I'm kind of saying is it's more of, has something changed in that direction, not rewrite the whole thing. So not even close.
So I guess my question is maybe this is to Lance and maybe you guys don't know. What dictates how far we have to go with the general plan once we open that up?
I know.
With public hearings and everything else.
I think our attorney wants to speak.
So it's pretty typical for a city to revisit their general plan in a 5 to 10 year cadence. And it just depends on community needs. So if you've had a lot of development and some of what the plans showed, in 2020 aren't what you got in the development, then maybe it would be a good idea to go and revisit the entire entire plan and come up with something that is consistent with the development that's occurred and kind of check to make sure that you have development needs or you're planning for development needs with transportation, with locations, future locations of schools if needed, those kind of things, or other public amenities, parks, et cetera, trails. And that those are part of your plan that makes sense based on the development that you've received or that has come to the city since that time. If, as far as how you want to do that, you can take a scalpel to it. Kind of sounds what you're suggesting. There's some things that you don't like and you'd like to revisit. You can simply give that direction. This is the parts of the area the plan that we want to revisit. And any amendment to the general plan requires a public hearing in planning commission and then another one in council. So it doesn't necessitate a public open house and have that level of process. And help me understand, when you did this process before, did you guys have a grant from, Wasatch Front Regional Council or something along those lines to do this before?
No, we did not.
No, it was
Okay.
just a bloodbath.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there are grant opportunities available from the Wasatch Front Regional Council, and I'm the city attorney in Fruit Heights. We went through this process about 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, and they provided the funding for all of that. Made some recommendations on some possible consultants to come in and help do that. So it wasn't a huge cost and expense to the city. It was an effort for staff and for residents to come in and participate in that. But I don't know if the concerns are the cost of it or if the process was the bigger concern. Maybe it's both. But the idea behind the general plan is you're creating a guideline, not a mandate, right? It's not set in stone. It's not concrete. It's Play-Doh. You can fix it to adapt it to what you want to do. And oftentimes, and some cities have different philosophies on this. Some cities will, anytime there is a deviation in development from the general plan, they will require a general plan amendment to happen at the same time before the development is approved. So that's one way of looking at it. Others look at it as, well, these are guidelines. They're not requirements. I will say the legislature is being lobbied very hard and has been for a couple of years to make them mandatory and binding. So if you put in that you'll have moderate income housing on property X, then what the certain home builders association lobbyists are pushing for is that if you have moderate income housing with high density housing on a area of the town in your general plan, then they should be able to come and not have to go through a rezone process and just say, you've already said it in your general plan. That's what we're going to do. So it'd be careful on how detailed you get on that, only because there's that effort and it hasn't died down. And if anything, it hasn't been successful yet, but they're not backing off. They're coming at it again, is what we've seen. So I don't know if that answers your question, but the general plan, you don't have to. So if you want to just focus on 3 or 4 areas of it, the direction is to planning commission and to staff. These are the areas that we'd like you to look at again. And then public hearing when you adopt an amendment or make a recommendation in planning commission, same again in council, but you don't have to do the whole thing. You can just take a scalpel to it, cut out the parts you don't like.
That's all I think would.
That's what I think we
Yeah,
want to do.
agreed.
Agreed.
One comment, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. My understanding of state code is that it requires a general plan, but it doesn't specifically require when updates have to take place or how many updates. Just, we need to have one. And we comply with that. It's just, is it doing what its job right now? Do we want to revisit it? I know we initially planned on doing that around 2025, and then things slid to now. We just want to make sure we're having the discussion and getting direction from council on whether that's a major project that we need to undertake, or if it's a minor project we need to undertake, and if so.
So with that, then are you looking for a specific date this year that you'd like to?
No, I don't think we need that level of detail right now. To me, if the desire of the council, as I hear it, is let's identify certain areas that we would like to address, then let's determine what those areas are. And then based on the general plan roles that everybody has here, The council is the ultimate deciding body, and ultimate decision makers. The planning commission by state law is required to provide the recommendation, and staff would help facilitate public input and community involvement to whatever level the council and planning commission desire there. There are, grants available. If we wanted to, pursue that, that's probably something we need the council direction on to say, yeah, we're interested in that, to assist on the costs or not.
But we are still planning on doing it this year, not pushing it down another 2 years.
That's what we would like the council to say. This is a priority, do it, staff, and make this happen. Or
So if we don't want to do it this year, we can push it down.
we can push it as long as you'd like. Again, it's not a requirement to update it. It's a requirement to have one. Of course, we want it to be useful to us. And so if at any point it feels like it's not useful, then we would need to address it. We'd previously discussed updating it on a calendar rather than on need. I'm asking if that's still the case.
Rip off the Band-Aid.
Then you guys feel, you want to do it this year? No?
Either way.
Jeremy, you chicken.
I don't think it,
I'm okay.
I said, I don't think it needs to be updated. But if we are gonna update it, I'd like to do it while I'm on the council, so I can have my voice heard on a few issues. So this year,
So we
next
should
year,
wait
yeah.
until he gets off council.
So if you want to make it political and wait till certain people off the council so you have more favor to do something else you want to do, then that's a political decision. But I'd say either this year or next.
My opinion
the
is
2
if
years?
we're going to be, if we are concerned about just ensuring that those undeveloped areas still match our vision and clarifying some of those cloud bubble zones, we should just do it sooner than later.
I agree with you. I think this is that's not a difficult undertaking. I think that it would be pretty
Knock on wood.
easy to go through that. I think the only thing that's controversial is the road. And if we all decide what to do with that already, then I think that's not even gonna be a thing. But if there's still some
Road you
varying
on?
opinion, you know what I'm talking.
I think Wayne was pretty solid on that.
He was, yeah.
That's why he sits at that side and I sit this side. Okay.
But I do think if we are going to open up that as a council, we need to agree on
Well-
a paragraph for every subject that we are going to discuss. So if we're going to make a motion to open up, I think we need to have a vote on, we want to open up this section? Yes, no, move the next one. But if you do a comprehensive, I think we need to open up to do everything. Then I'm going to say no. I think you need to be very specific as to which ones we're going to do. And as a council, we have to agree as to which ones we're going to do.
Lance?
It just sounds like the conversation is, what I'm hearing is, we don't want an update, we don't want to do that full thing. We want to go and do amendments to this, this, and this.
Yes.
That's a better way to put it.
That would
yeah.
just be a general plan
Yeah.
amendment process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not gonna have an open house to get everybody's input. We're just gonna hit these specific topics. And I think if we approach it that way, then we're very focused on just those issues.
Yeah.
We just say we're amending our general plan.
Okay.
Agreed.
And,
Sounds good, yeah.
and I think it's good if we look for the money, because we are gonna have to pay Brandon and staff to do that.
Well, not if we don't do any new maps and those kind of things.
Why
we
would-
do that if
why
we just do an
wouldn't-
amendment?
why
Yeah,
wouldn't
That's
we
true.
do-
Why don't we
Why,
apply for
I
it?
mean,
Yeah,
if we're doing it,
yeah.
can't we? Because well, that's one thing that bothers me is if
Yeah.
we don't put the amendments. We had several years back here when I first came on council that all the maps on the wall were completely outdated because we had 10 amendments that had happened since and no new maps. And so the only person that knew what was going on was Brandon. And as far as so if someone moves into our city and wants to look up what we have for a projected land use map, it's not online anymore. Because that could be completely different. So if we're gonna update the maps, we update the maps.
Yeah.
But I still think that could be done with an amendment.
Well, yeah, that would still
It's
be an
just
amendment.
get
You're
them
just talking
done.
about
Yeah.
actually
Actually
updating.
physically updating them and
changing all the
putting them
maps.
online and doing it and being done with it.
Which would happen as an amendment, part of an amendment. I don't know why that necessarily didn't happen.
Yeah.
I will say that we do have a grant application into Wasatch Front Regional Council for transportation and land use grant. The stipulation there that we made an assumption going forward and saying, but it's what big community issue is going to change? Or what transportation aspect is going to change? That is a key element to getting that grant. And we have said, because of the gravel pit and dust issues, that was, we want to address that as kind of the community issue. I don't know if we'll even get that grant, and that's into the process. We're waiting to hear back on their last turn. But that would be I mean, they need to have a regional impact, or it's part of, addressing some state need or a larger need.
Okay.
To at least the grants that I know of.
I think we should try and do it this year. If not this year, we definitely want to do it before the end of next year.
I'm good with this year.
Yeah.
Same.
Let's put it on calendar.
Okay.
So just to clarify, restate so that staff understands the direction. We want to do an amendment of the general plan this year that includes undeveloped areas and the clouds.
Yes.
Is that it?
Well, I think Joel mentioned some code changes that he thinks would be appropriate. So you can, that's not really general plan. That's just code
Codes are
changes.
not in there.
Right.
But I mean, would it be our
Related code issues
projected,
that would
an amendment,
support the-
can you just,
Yeah.
an amendment to our projected land use?
Because the general plan has that whole narrative document, explanation and verbs and paragraphs and all of those things with a few images and whatnot. Whereas the maps, projected land use map, we think of as the general plan map in many ways, the future land use. So we'd be looking at future land use map, the transportation map,
Yes.
and those related maps
Right.
as it pertains to undeveloped land and
Yes.
the clouds.
Yes.
And probably trails, because everyone thinks I hate every trail and I don't.
Yeah.
The one that runs.
But that used to be
That's
one,
one
that
of-
used to be
that's one
one
of
map.
that.
On
Yeah.
map.
Our
Used to be
perception
one
is our
that-
reality.
Now
Yeah.
they're two.
Okay,
Okay. We good?
And
yeah.
Well,
Ending general plan that includes undeveloped.
well, I think we can. I don't,
Clouds. And what else?
transportation.
I think Blair's.
And the associated maps, because that's what we're talking about, the undeveloped area and the cloud are part of the undeveloped area and the associated maps, transportation, parks, sensitive lands, those type of things. So anything that touches those things may have an implication. So if we're not changing the cloud or we're not changing those other areas, nothing else changes. If we do
Exactly.
get a change, how does it impact the transportation? How does it impact parks? Is there not making a impact?
I'm just throwing this out there. There was a memo from Lance that had a list of things, or was that from you, Dave? So.
Yeah, there
Are
was.
there items there that you guys need highlighted for him, since he put together that list, maybe there's nothing in there that.
So it would be your land use and zoning, transportation. and I guess that-
Infrastructure.
That will then determine.
All of those aspects will be touched as we talk
Right.
about
As you
undeveloped
talk,
land.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one final clarifying question then, based on process, just so that we understand moving forward, who's involved and who is providing recommendation and whatnot. If this is amendments, do you want, how would you like to proceed? What do you think is the best in order to bring up those specific areas? Do you want staff to provide any type of information or material or discussion points, or just how would you like that process to go? Typically, or generally speaking, based on land use code and requirements, as was brought up, we will definitely have a public hearing at the Planning Commission once the Planning Commission is looking at this to make a recommendation to the City Council. What other types of process are you wanting either prior to that or after that public hearing at the Planning Commission?
Okay, I was gonna ask, so we would be making a recommendation of amendments, areas that we want to have reviewed. We would then send that to the planning commission. They would hold their meeting on it with public comment. Then it would come back up to the city council. Is that correct?
That would be the simplest streamlined process. If you're, as a
Yeah.
council saying, do these areas, which you have, we take that to the Planning Commission and they discuss it of what they would recommend those changes on the maps to be. for the council's decision. That could be very quick, or we could make this much more involved with the public input and other things like that.
Wouldn't phrase it those changes, just to stipulate, we're pointing out areas. The question to unless there's any follow-up, the question to the planning commissions, do these areas require any change and or update given the current situations? That's just a general question. Not look in here and change it.
Right.
That's a different direction. We're not asking it to be changed. We're asking, is there a change required based upon the development that's occurred since the last
Right.
general plan? If so, what?
Right.
And then we'll take a look at it. That's what I heard. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
I appreciate the way that you stated that. That's clear.
Do you wanna, so the consensus is to let them just come up with ideas if things need to be changed and present it back?
Well, we still send this list of the items,
Yeah.
or if we have anything,
I think, I think if any council member has something very specific that we want
should be
to
looked at.
look at, I think we can bring that up and make sure that's on the list.
Because well, that's just it, to streamline it. I think if we have, because the process, as we saw last time, it comes up to the city council says no, goes back to the PC, then comes back, and I'd rather just, okay, if there's something we're looking particularly to put onto it, let's put it on that list for that first pass so that it can be done one time and not have to go back and forth.
Well, yeah. The only other way you avoid going back and forth is if we did a joint meeting and went through it.
We did
That was-
joint
And
meetings
that's the way
before.
we did it before.
That was my initial thought is, can we have a joint planning
That
commission
would-
council meeting to present
To me,
them,
that makes.
Yeah.
as Joel said, and have them ask clarifying questions. And then they walk away, okay, we have a clear vision of what you're asking, go do your job, and then. we
So
can-
kind of as an amendment kickoff process,
Yeah.
have both bodies in the same room and say, okay, planning commission, these are the thoughts that we have as a council. We'd like you to go and look at these areas. You identify the areas specifically for them.
They'll bring in Burley Burger for the group to have dinner over.
Sounds like a great plan. I was on board before, but now I'm.
But, and maybe if Lance or staff has ideas of presenting
Yeah.
a packet to us, if you think there's things that need to be changed, that would be a starting point.
Yeah, and I think you guys have addressed it. My one concern was giving a list of general items and letting the planning commission try and guess what you want.
That's what I mean.
And so it sounds like we've addressed that. We'll have a kickoff with everybody so we can iron it out and get specific. And then start.
Session
I
zero.
don't necessarily want the planning commission to bring up new items that we didn't bring forward just because they have a particular interest someplace else. It's like, no, we're not asking you to look at that. We're good with that. You know, that might be a discussion we want to have at that kickoff. meeting.
What if they see something that really does need to be addressed?
That's what we want to talk about at that. I just don't want them to arbitrarily go it without us
Okay.
having us a buy-in on it. Because they may have some good ideas and they may have some bad ideas.
No such thing as a bad idea, Lynn.
It's a disfavorable idea that goes into late and then we're not going to talk about it.
We good on that?
Are you good?
I do have one more question. I might have more questions later, but
Legal
as of
question.
right now, we've talked about the required public hearing at the planning commission. Is there other hopes and desires from a public involvement standpoint, or do you feel like that is?
I think that's a question that needs to be reserved until what the planning commission comes up with. I mean, if they come up with its own neutral, then there's really no need for another public involvement.
And if there's a lot of changes.
Yeah.
that Seem to be controversial changes, then I think it would need to be opened up differently, but if they're just minor changes, no.
Well, I think one of the lessons learned, or one of the things that happened last time that we recognized is planning commission started out with the brainstorm and had some ideas that they put on the map, asking for feedback. And the feedback, was, where did that idea come from? And I know that some of the planning commissioners expressed that we put that idea on the map because it was a brainstorm. We wanted to hear from the community there, but it kind of came across as the city is looking to do this, and it wasn't. It's the city is asking for feedback on an idea, and I think that there was miscommunication in that regard. So I would like to not follow that same pattern if that creates more confusion or miscommunication. That's my thought, is how do we provide the right public input and involvement? And I agree that if there's not many changes, then we don't need to ask any questions, but it's kind of dependent.
Well, I'm kind of with Blair. I don't know, there's no need to go to that level until we are ready to present the change that we think is a decent idea at a minimum.
Okay.
And then the public absolutely come and give us your opinion on it.
Okay.
And then,
Sounds great.
sway us one way or the other, I guess.
And at least one of the big mouths is now on council, so it won't matter.
Okay. Next item is discussion on Riverdale Senior Center.
Love this.
Dave and I had the opportunity of going down to Riverdale City and taking a tour. I had no idea that they had a senior center down there. Did any of you?
No.
I was surprised, and let me tell you, it's a first class senior citizen. It blew me away what they offer down there. And the reason Riverdale's come to this, they've got to come up with a little more revenue for their citizens, and they've got so many people that are coming outside of their city from other cities and utilizing this, that they put the program together where they would like to have this, they would, in no way do they want to shut the other communities off. They want them and actually need them to come in and kind of help them with this. So they put together a program where you can buy a membership. If you're a resident there, it's $30. If you're non-resident, it's $60. They've reached out to the cities and says, what we would like to see is for those that are not from our city, be subsidized in a way from their city. So they would come to South Weber, get a voucher, go down there. That voucher would allow them to buy a membership, and this is a yearly membership. But you can buy it, I think, monthly too, but the $30 is yearly, and if for outside the city, it's $60. So you'd take that, and then they would sell you a membership for $30, and then Riverdale City would then bill back to whatever city it is, South Weber City, the other $30 to cover the $60. And that would help on the cost for the residents. They do offer lunch there every day, and we ate lunch there the day that we went down. They have a really good lunch, and it's $4. They'd still have to pay the $4. A membership doesn't get them free lunch, but if they don't, we've got, Riverdale said that we've got about 18 members from our city that go there on a regular basis. Some of them go there just for the lunch. Some of them go there and utilize the whole facility. They've got every type of a program going on there that you can think of that the senior citizens enjoy. They've got ceramics, they've got fitness, they've got, they'll help you with your taxes. They've got a computer center. You can go in and use their computers. I mean, it's really a top notch. And you could see the people that were there. You know, we were there for lunch, and after lunch, they have about 100, just under 100 or around 100 every day for lunch. And he says, turn around and look. He says, and we did, and everybody was, you know, talking and communicating. It fills a void for seniors. So I was very positive on it. It would give us as a city then the opportunity to say, yes, we do have a program for our senior citizens through Riverdale. And it's just, I mean, it's just right there at the bottom in Riverdale, as close as you could possibly have it. That's just out of our city. So I'm very positive on it. I want to see what you guys think and go from there. Dave, you want to add anything from what I've said?
I was really impressed as well, and I love the idea of South Weber offering services to senior citizens. Right now, our senior citizen offerings are a lunch every other month. And talking to Curtis, our recreation director, he mentioned that we probably would not have to discontinue our
I think we
lunch.
should
I
still
think we
have
could
it.
still have it, and,
Yeah.
and those that want to still have that South Weber identity and interaction and community, we could still provide that here. This could be an addition. So I think it's a great idea, and I'd love to offer it.
They've got, did they say over 200 instructors, and they're all volunteers. The cooks that come in and cook every day are all volunteers. And everyone that comes in and teaches a class is a volunteer. And they've got, like I say, they've got everything that you could think of. I was just really impressed with, yeah, they have a
Oh, yeah.
bingo now. They've got a game room, and I says,
You're not 55.
I
that's
said,
right. Only senior
it
citizens.
says, you probably really fill this room. You really fill this room on bingo. I guess you have bingo because they play games there. And they says, oh man, bingo, no, we gotta go use the cafeteria where they eat at. It says, we have a ton of people that come.
And you better be a
weekly for
pro,
bingo."
because they don't play.
And they offer, he made the comment, he says, we go down to the dollar store and just buy little dollar prizes. But he says, man, when somebody yells bingo, man, you'd think they just won $100.
If only they have a class of how to amend a general plan.
Really? And keep in mind, I just pulled up the numbers on it. South Weber has just about 10% of its population is 65 or older. So looking at the 55 and above, yeah, it would really impact quite a few people that don't get out as much.
I think it'd help get this out, and I think it would be 800.
I feel like currently, as the memo states, we have 18 South Weaver residents there that are members, costing us $540 annually. There's no way we could offer any programs for that cheap.
Yeah.
I'm in support of it.
Just a couple of things. One, I think it's a little funny that Riverdale doesn't have money to pay for this, because I just don't see them not having money with all the commercial taxes that they
I
get.
talked to their mayor last night at the sewer board meeting. And he says, yeah, we do need help. They reached out to Weber County. Weber County has a senior citizen program that they help the cities on. And Riverdale applied for that, and the county turned them down.
I'm assuming they have the money. It's just something that their council's probably looking at as a revenue negative.
Right.
Kind of like we look at our activity center at that time.
Yeah, I'm not against it per se. I just find that a little humorous. I'm definitely for it. I think it's a great benefit. What I would recommend that we do at the same time, though, is we put a cap on the expense, so we don't have like an unexpected surge in expense somehow. So maybe we set the limit at like 2,000 for the year and see how it goes. And then if we reach that, then we come next year and say, do we want to increase that because we have so many people taking advantage of it, or we do a budget amendment mid-year if that's necessary. But I think it won't be huge, but still, I don't want to get into a situation where we think it's 500 and ends up being 5,000, and then, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
So you bring up a really good point from a budget standpoint, and we talked about multiple ways that this could happen, right? The voucher way is kind of a pay one for one. Some of the other cities they've talked to have desired to have it be kind of a lump sum for the year based on last year's number. So if we have 18 right now, we pay 540, however many vouchers get redeemed throughout the year, great. And whatever that number of membership is at the end of the year becomes our budget for the next year. So it would change as things go, but it's in annual increments so that the budgeting isn't an unknown.
Just a clarification, you may want to distinguish between calendar year or fiscal year in order to get it into the budget.
Yeah.
They did mention that it's all on RDA. Isn't that what he said? This is
The facility was built through an
built through
RDA.
the
Yeah.
RDA. So besides the senior citizen, they've got our senior center. They've got rental units that people live in. They've got, what'd they say, 22 of them? I think there's 22 units.
Housing units.
That the senior citizen that it's attached to it. And they reside there and then use the center as well. I mean, it was really pretty cool.
So is that something we need to bring back as a motion then?
No,
Because of the amount, I don't.
it's
think
a
so.
discussion item, to provide just general direction of if you're interested, which it sounds like you are, we'll work on an agreement that we can bring back for the council's approval.
Please do.
Okay.
Can I jump in here? One thing to consider in this agreement is moving forward. I'm for it. My concern comes from if other residents outside the county take greater advantage of this facility than those within Riverdale, to the point where the Riverdale residents start to complain and want some of their facility back. Once in, we can't get kicked out. I don't want to set up a bait and switch where we go there and now our residents start to expect to go there, and the Generation X is starting to become the 65 and older, and there's a great population of that coming of age. Wouldn't want them to have that expectation, then all of a sudden, hey, it's getting used too much and now we can't support the other communities using it. So there needs to be some sort of language in there that protects our citizens if they do try to use that.
Yeah, I think we could do that. Okay. Okay, new business. One item that I've got for new business is, we've reached out to the Peterson family to design and come up with a monument to put down at the park where the pickleball court park is, the Peterson property. And they've come back to us with that. They've got a monument. They've gone to Bots and got a cost on that, and it's well within the budget that was set at the time to build a monument for this property that was donated to South Weber City. So we've got that, and it's designed, so we wanted to bring that to your attention that we are going to be moving forward with that to complete that agreement that we had with them. We also, in looking at that agreement when it was written and put up, it was the desire of the Peterson family to have the Peterson name in the park. And so from this, in doing this and in the verbiage that's going to be on this monument, this park is going to be known as the Peterson Farm Park. And so from here out on out, that's what the park will be called.
Where's the monument going?
We're going to decide on a
Oh.
place for it, where it's going to go. If you'd like to see it,
Thanks. I'm good.
they would like it to be somewhere in the entrance from the parking lot into the park. So they're somewhere towards the front where most of the people are going to be walking to.
I think it'd be great.
Both sides of the parking lot, excuse me, east and west side entrances of the park,
It'll just be
Or
at
just-
one. It'll be at one.
just by
You're
the
good.
west side?
West of the pickleball courts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
Okay.
in that area.
We're cool.
So it stands about not quite 4 feet high. It's about 2 feet wide, about 8 inches thick. And basically it's got a picture of the red barn. And then the verbiage on it just gives a description of the use of that land over time.
Cool.
I think that's wonderful.
Well done.
Just be intentional.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to move color, we can get color.
Oh, that seems
The
great.
etching will be
I
good.
think
That'll,
just an etching
Mhm.
is fine.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool. Good deal.
I do want to say, though, that the Parks Committee, while we did work with them on this, and the monument and various other ideas, this is the first time that I'm hearing about changing the name of the park to it. I just want to bring up the idea that as we go through different sponsorships, and the programs that we're looking at doing, we're changing the name of the entire park for this one donation. So, and it's our one of our biggest, most used parks. So just putting that out there.
Are you saying that process for that should be different, or are you in disagreement of changing the name? Or both?
As I've been going through it and looking at other cities and what they do for donations, renaming a park, say like Staker Parson Park, usually costs more and is a much bigger donation to have your name on that.
I
Don't know how you can get
I get that.
donation than donating the property.
Knowing the history of that, I am
I'm just-
100% okay
And with
changing
the
the name.
agreement that was made by the council at that time when they took it on, that they would call it Peterson.
Well,
Then I think we're kind of locked into that.
I'm just trying to bring up,
We want to go back.
again,
forward and say, no, we're gonna call it something.
I'm just bringing up again that this is a normal process that other cities do. I was not saying yes or no for this one. I was bringing it to the attention of the council that the committee did not agree on this. This was just something that has been presented right now. That was not my vote forward or back.
A little additional context. I found out about this just yesterday. The agreement that the city signed when the family donated the property specifically identifies that it would include the name. I didn't know that until now. And we've been referring to that as Canyon Meadows West because the name of the other side of the park, Canyon Meadows East, was just Canyon Meadows, and it's all joined property. So, yeah, it's not necessarily a new name as much as it feels like that. It was decided by that council when that property was donated that the Peterson name would be on that. And I think we were unaware until the family brought that to our attention recently.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Dave, you got any new business?
No.
Anyone else?
Nope.
Committee reports?
I'm good. No report.
I got a few things. If you guys aren't aware of the hot topic from the planning commission, was about the gas station proposal that would sit right next to or across 2700 from Maverick. There was some pretty robust discussions on that one. They decided to continue that item until February's planning commission meeting, with the expectation that that company would finish a couple well, actually most, if not all the items that were on the to-do list, as well as address the concerns they had with the traffic flows in and out of Maverick. Specifically, they were really concerned about not being able to turn left out of the East Maverick entrance and exit. So looking forward to that. I'll let you guys know how that pans out if you don't watch it yourselves, but it should be an interesting discussion. It was pretty lively when we were there, so it was good. Mayor, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you covered it pretty good.
Okay.
Quick question, offhand, Lance, do you know what date that commission meeting is? Thank you. Okay, go ahead, thanks.
Yeah, you're not invited. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Story of my life.
The other one, we had a meeting with the safety committee today. We had a great meeting. There's going to be a couple items that come before the council in regards to the budgeting meeting coming up. So that'll be good, primarily around wages for the firemen. That was brought up on the last meeting you had to. We have a Quint timeline now, which is pretty exciting. That is expected to be delivered end of this year around November. So that'll be really exciting to see that new fire truck come home. And one thing that came up was we're going to need to make a decision on how we want to manage that fire truck budget moving forward. Do we want to only purchase Quints going forward, or do we want to do the rotation between a Quint and a fire truck? So I'm in favor of just having Quints, but of course that's a lot more money. So we got to figure that out. And I've asked that be a topic that we get discussed sooner rather than later as well.
At the retreat?
Yeah.
we should definitely put the Quint on the agenda again for the retreat, if we could.
It'd be odd.
I'm calling it the engine rotation.
Thank you, Dave.
Large apparatus rotation schedule.
We also, we also had a good discussion with Sergeant, I think, is it Sergeant Pope or, okay. I'm sorry, what? Good, okay. So we brought up some overarching concerns about traffic specifically around Highmark and the two really busy areas of the day. And can we get some DCSO presence during those times to help make sure things don't get out of hand? So he agreed with that approach. He's going to take that back to his team and hopefully we'll see some additional changes there. The good news is that Highmark and South Weber Elementary do not get out simultaneously. So there's still an opportunity to have presence at both locations. We didn't go to a lot of details there, but we think there might be an opportunity to.
They've been very good
Yeah.
about sitting down here,
Yeah.
just not so much down at Highmark.
Yeah. So that was one of the big things that we talked about primarily. So hoping to see some changes there. And then there was a good discussion about code enforcement. Wayne specifically had brought a concern about needing to, as a council, discuss if we want to continue as is, or do we feel like code enforcement is at a high enough priority that we need to seriously discuss a more permanent extra headcount to help handle that. So that's also a discussion item that we asked Dave to put on for the retreat to see if there's a feeling either way so that we can go either way on that one. So just a couple of things there. Did I miss anything, Wayne?
Just to clarify that, I would say we want to continue to have a reactionary code enforcement, or do we want to have a proactive approach?
Any questions? All right.
None for me?
Angie,
Wait, are we answering the question or giving our reports?
Reports.
you're giving your report.
That's the question.
Unless you want to.
Got it. Okay. I do have a question for you guys though, for safety committee. So we had discussed, and in years prior, Highmark had agreed reluctantly, like we got the fire chief to sign off that they could use the emergency pull around the back method. Is Highmark at any point going to implement that? Are we still pushing them for that? Because this is really crazy.
I think they're
And as soon as that opens that property, there's just no way they can do it. So they've got to do it sooner than later, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was kind of discussed, but it was discussed more from pulling a road in from 2700 all the way around. If I heard that correctly, is that what I heard?
20 cents a right-hand turn in. right
Yeah.
now,
Okay.
so-
But it would require them to get rid of their soccer field in order to accommodate a road through there, but there's no serious conversation, I guess, is my bigger point.
About
is
the
that-
road or about the process, either
Right.
way.
Correct, but I can see if it's a big enough item that we feel like that's gonna solve the issue, which I'm not sure that's gonna necessarily solve the concern either,
They don't
Angie,
own
but.
property.
Well, mhm.
So
Sure.
it's an issue. We're bringing it up with the sheriffs, because it's going to become more of an issue with the future construction.
Absolutely.
Not just locally, but with the highways. Traffic, it's a problem that's going to get worse.
Okay, as long as your committee is on it and recognizing.
It's
that we
definitely
can
on
Move
the-
forward. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, forefront, yeah.
Okay,
Remember that they had committed to rerouting though.
they
Yeah.
did.
They had committed,
Yeah,
Wayne, to
they
rerouting around the back of the school and restriping and doing everything, and they just never did it.
That was at least 2 school years ago
Uh-huh.
that we met
And-
with them
and
on
they-
site, and they said
Yeah,
that they were
we'd all
planning on
met
doing
with
that.
them. Fire chief met with them, everything.
I will bring that up again
Okay.
and
Thank you.
make sure that that specific agreement is talked about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As far as my reports, we have a Parks Committee meeting and a Rec Department committee meeting tomorrow. So I'll report at the next
Okay.
council meeting. Thank you.
Blair,
Just a couple things. We met as a municipal utilities committee. And just discussed some ongoing things, to try to get back on track and reviewing our capital facilities plans. Several of those the sewer, water, everything's being under review. Brandon is committed to by June, I think he said in the meeting, to have most of those updates to us and reviews to us. As far as the plan moving forward, we've also asked them to relook at what it would take and how many streetlights we can now do, because there's been issues with supply and demand. And that he'll report back on that as well. The one item that I brought up in the meeting was I thought there might be some interest in going and seeing the Public Works building for us, the Planning Commission, before we do a big open house. Did we get enough responses to set a date for that, Dave, or?
I got about half response.
I didn't respond, but I was gonna just show up whenever everybody was good with it, but.
Hey, would it make sense to use that big conference room as our gathering for the general plan and just make that a thing?
If we're doing
We
that
could
pretty
potentially
soon.
do that if the streaming and everything is set up in this room,
Yeah.
rather than over there, although it's a great meeting room, but, yeah,
If we can
think about that.
accommodate for the rules for Open Meetings Act. I'm just thinking we could do.
But
two birds with
it
one
would
stone
be
there.
easy to hold the meeting there and notice it as that's the location of public meeting. If we want to live stream it like we do out of this room, we'd have to come up with a different plan and setup.
Are we required to live stream?
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, because I just a thought that came to mind, because we have that big conference room there now, so it might.
Well, and I just didn't know, I mean, yeah, we could do that, or if anybody wants to just go see it, then go see it. I just didn't know what the desire was, because a lot of people haven't been down there. I think Mayor and I and Dave are tired of seeing it. So.
I've got all the mayors coming to see it on February the 11th.
We better get our own council there before February 11th.
Yeah, agreed, agreed.
So I would say, to be honest with you, that next week we ought to set a lunch or something up to just go over there and see it, or just a time to walk through it, whatever, I don't care.
Any day but Thursday.
And someone said every day, Thursday was your only day, or you agreed with that
I
in your
agree with that,
response, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He agrees with me.
Way to go.
Noted.
What if we-
Not
do a-
not a wise decision.
What if we do a late lunch at like 1:00 on Wednesday?
The 5th? 4th?
I can make that work.
Angie, you look like that's not gonna work.
Next week from tomorrow. Or tomorrow. You saying tomorrow?
A week from tomorrow.
Week from-
Mine would
Is it
either have
1
to be
o'clock?
that or Friday.
You said 1 o'clock on the 4th?
That's what I'm suggesting, 1:00 on the 4th.
I'm out.
Perfect, let's go.
No,
What about 1:00 on the 6th?
I didn't turn my phone off, dang it.
But doesn't take long to turn it on.
I could do that one too.
We'll be doing our evening.
That's our budget retreat evening.
Oh, it is.
1 o'clock on the 6th.
what if we just do
could do
it
that too,
down
but-
there instead of at the FAC? The 6th at 6 PM.
I'm good with that.
That worked.
I'm gonna go with that too.
Done.
And if you wanted to come an hour early and walk, or a half hour early and walk through everything. you
Oh,
could
we're
walk through.
scheduled for 7, so he's saying come early. Walk
I have it
through.
at 6 to 8.
No, it's
young
6 to
lady.
8.
I have it at 6 o'clock.
6 PM on the 6th.
Wrong time last time. Oh, jeez.
Our future residents gonna think we're so disorganized in here.
We're not.
And they'd be
6
right.
PM, February 6th.
Hey Blair, I've been wanting to make a comment in the conversation kind of, down the road. I want to go back to the updates to the capital facilities plans.
Yes.
I asked the question, do we want to put a pause, pump the brakes on those? Specifically, if we're going to be updating or making any changes to the general plan, it's going to have a trickling effect on all those capital facilities plans, or could. Do you want to pause and not have them finish and then only have to go back and amend it if we do make changes to the general plan?
Unless someone foresees major changes. That might be even me. I'm the one that's all in favor for a road, so. No, with the way Brandon is doing those and the calculations, I don't think unless you foresee a drastic change on densities.
That's the thing. If
I
you
don't
change
think
the
so.
density, it's gonna have an impact, and I don't know how much of an impact with this factor of safety he has in there, if
Yeah.
it's going to reach into that or not.
Well, and there's certain areas where we're having to account for, whatever might happen in the future.
Yeah.
And so I think I think we're okay.
It's just a question, not so we don't spend the dollar twice. If you think we're good, okay, I just wanted to make sure we're not going down a road and don't have to pull back and redo some work.
The only item that could possibly change it, and it's Brandon's biggest fear, and Jeremy heard it the other day, is if all the ground we have listed as open space, if a council one day wants to change that from open space, that drastically impacts.
And you're talking about all the hillsides on the.
Yeah,
south
anything
side.
declared open space.
Yeah.
And so right now, a lot of his calculations are having to take that in case that happens.
Okay.
Because he didn't do that at one time and we kind of got in trouble with some of our size of our lines. Because another council later changed it.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel-
just a question.
I think that's a really fair question. I think we're far enough down the road on the water and the sewer that it makes sense to just finish out that process.
Mm-hmm.
My question would be then finish them, and if there are changes, we just make an amendment to it, not go back and redo the whole.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thanks for asking the question. That's a good question. That's all I have, Mayor. Sorry.
Okay,
So sorry. A half hour before?
on the
We'll
6th.
do a tour at 5:30
All right.
and dinner at 6 on Friday,
So it's
the
at,
6th.
I just got it, 5:30.
I will send out a calendar invite.
Mark Larson
With
will be there to
details.
give you a tour.
Oh, I hope so. Shut up. It says 5:30, done.
And when you drive by the old Public Works building, look at that first. And then you will appreciate much more of what you're going to.
Speaking of which, there's a fifth wheel park over there. Whose is that?
I have no idea.
That is going to be used for fire training.
Oh, okay.
And there wasn't space at the fire station. I think somebody was donating it or getting rid
Yeah,
of it or something.
probably.
And so said, fire department, would you like to use it? They said, sure, but they didn't want to store it behind the fire station. Public Works said, well, just put it right over here at the old shop. So that's why that fifth wheel is there.
Okay. Okay, anything else, Dave? Look
Nope.
for a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.